As loyal fans of my channel will know, I'm a huge fan of Toy Story. It was one of those films which was one of my favourites when I was growing up as a kid. And even now as an adult, I still find some enjoyment out of watching this film. So, when Toy Story 2 came out in 1999, what were my thoughts back then and what are my thoughts now? Well, it's about time I reviewed this, isn't it? Welcome to my review of Toy Story 2, starring the voice talent of Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Don Rickles, and many more. So what this film is basically all about is Woody gets kidnapped by a toy collector called Al. Al has his own toy barn, and really he's sort of the bad guy, or one of the bad guys of this film. He's really obsessed with collecting toys. Kind of reminds me of someone. But anyway, yeah, he gets kidnapped by Al, and all the rest of the toys, such as Buzz, Mr. Potato Head, Slinky, Ham, Rex, they all go out to try and find Woody and try and rescue him from Al. And it turns out that Woody is actually a big collector's item, as he's part of this crew known as Woody's Roundup. Apparently it was a TV show that aired back in the 1960s, and they used puppets and stuff, so naturally they made toys of them, and that's where we get introduced to some of the new toys in this film, some of whom become regular characters for the remainder of the Toy Story series. We have Jessie, and we have Bullseye, and we also have Stinky Pete, who is voiced by the same guy who voiced Sideshow Bob in The Simpsons. So it's kind of a bit of a hint as to what type of character this may be, because for those of you who know about The Simpsons, Sideshow Bob is a bad guy. So Stinky Pete, the prospector, is also a bad guy. And I've got to say that the voice acting for him is really good. I don't think they could have chosen anyone better to play Stinky Pete. So well done to Disney, well done to Pixar on that. I've got to say that the animation has moved on a little bit since Toy Story 1 as well, because there's some really good scenes. One of the most satisfying scenes, I think you know what I'm going to say if you've all been watching all these memes about Toy Story and everything like that, then when the guy comes in to clean up Woody during the film and to fix his arm, because his arm gets ripped towards the beginning of the film, and you have that really weird dream sequence which is just really messed up. But anyway, that scene when he's getting cleaned up and everything, it's really satisfying to see. And a little bit of trivia for you, the old guy who cleans it up, he also appeared in a Pixar short film where he's playing chess with himself. I recommend that you give it a watch. It's quite entertaining to see. So anyway, so yeah, basically that's more or less the plot. Woody gets kidnapped, they try and save him, he meets some new friends and a new foe, Stinky Pete the prospector, and all the other toys which we all know and love from the first film go out to try and rescue him. And I've got to say, this is how you do a sequel, folks. It's so good. There's so many great scenes which I just find just as enjoyable as the first film. Would I go as far to say that it's much better than the first film? I wouldn't. I'd say it's actually equal to the first film. There's not really a Toy Story film out of the first two anyway, which I prefer over the other. The first one I probably would say gets me more with the nostalgia, because it came out earlier. Actually came out the year I was born. Whereas Toy Story 2, I've got a lot of nostalgia for that as well. I believe I went to the cinema to see that 20 years ago. So, I remember it being a pretty big deal back in the day, and they made a PS1 game and things like that. And I remember thinking that, this film is really cool. I mean, I was only 4, so I didn't really have a real concept of what was good and what was bad, because me, like many other people as kids watching films, when you watch them now, sometimes you think, what the hell's this? Why the hell did I watch this when I was a kid? This is absolutely atrocious. But I can happily say that films like Toy Story and Toy Story 2, they don't fit into this category. And it's a real testament to Disney and Pixar for doing this. The characters are just so great. I love Woody, I love Buzz, I love all the gang. It's just such a joy to watch every time I visit it every once in a while. And Toy Story 2, I think it builds on the original. Like I said, it is the best way to do a sequel, because in my eyes it's equal to the original, which is a compliment to it, because usually sequels don't really deliver and they're usually weaker than the original, whereas I think Toy Story 2, it's just right there. You've also got other characters like Wheezy, which are just really funny. Same voice as the guy who did the voice for Heimlich in A Bug's Life as well. And there's so many things to say. I could go on about this film all day long, really. It's such a pleasure to watch every time I watch it. I'm really excited to watch it. I usually watch all the films together, so naturally I watch Toy Story 1, and I watch 2, and then so on. And it's just really good to follow it up, like, since the opening scene of the film, where you have that little action sequence with Buzz Lightyear, which turns out to be a video game. There's some moments of the film which are very quotable. There's some moments of the film which are quite funny, and I found very funny as a child. Now I look at it and I think, not as funny as I remember, but it still gets me on nostalgia. So in that regard, Toy Story 2, it succeeds, just as Toy Story 1 succeeded. So you probably can guess that I am saying nothing but good things about this film. So you can sort of guess where I'm going to go with the score of this film. But to wrap up, I think one of the best sequences in this film is towards the end, the airport scene, when you've got all the luggage all over the place, and all of those treadmills all going to all the different flights where all the people are going, because Al wants to take Woody, Jessie, Bullseye and Stinky Pete away to Japan, and they want to be put on display in a museum because these are collector's items. Woody would go for a huge amount of money. I don't actually remember how much money it was said that Woody would go for. If not, it was never said. I can't really recall, but I'd say that it was probably worth a lot of money, because going by how Al reacts to when he sees Woody in the yard sale, I see that it's pretty rare. It's a rare collector's item. So that scene in the airport, so good. And then you get the whole chase sequence trying to rescue Jessie from the plane, and then you get the toys coming home to Andy just in time. Andy's gone on camping trip, and Woody's arm's been fixed as well, because one of the points of this film is eventually your owners will outgrow the toys, and the toys may become trash or rubbish if you're from the UK like myself, but in the film they call it trash. And it's quite a big theme throughout all of these Toy Story films. They relate to toys and real life and things like that, and it's quite funny looking at it now, because I didn't really think about it as a kid, but when you look at it now you think, oh wow, okay, this is actually pretty hard-hitting stuff right here. One day you're going to have to part ways with the toys because eventually you can outgrow it. Right then folks, I think you know what I'm going to give this film in terms of score. Yeah, I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10. It's just so good. It is one of the best animated films ever made. It is just as good as the original. In my eyes it's equal, but some people will see this as superior to the original, which again is just such a testament to this film, because usually sequels suck, but this one, it's really, really good. So yeah, that's my review of Toy Story 2, one of the best Pixar films. I highly recommend that you go and see it, especially if you're a fan of animation. But I don't think I really need to recommend it, because I think most viewers watching this will have seen the Toy Story films. And the Toy Story series, it's one of the best series out there. So stay tuned, as eventually I will get to review all of the other Toy Story films, whenever that will be. It might be another few years off, who knows. Thank you very much for watching this movie review by me, guys. I hope you really enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed talking about this film, with all the memories that it's given me, all the happiness that it's provided me as a child and even now as an adult. I hope you stay tuned, and stay tuned next time. Bye for now.